The sun set over a sprawling villa in Costa Rica, casting fiery hues across the horizon. Cameras zoomed in on the eager faces of 12 contestants, each hoping to find love, or at least make it to the season finale. 90 Day Perverts, a spin-off of 90 Day Fiancé, wasn't a typical dating show. It thrived on pairing the most eccentric, incompatible personalities to see if love could blossom amidst chaos. Among the group were Loren and Faith, two contestants whose differences would soon spiral into one of the most unforgettable storylines in reality TV history. Faith, a radiant 26-year-old from Southern California, exuded charm and optimism. She had signed up for the show after a series of failed relationships, convinced that her soulmate might be hiding among the quirky cast. Faith was known for her collection of colorful sneakers, which, unbeknownst to her, would catch the eye of a peculiar co-star. Loren, on the other hand, was a 33-year-old artist from Brooklyn with a brooding intensity. His claim to fame was his avant-garde work in sculpting, primarily focused on the human foot. While his bio described him as an eccentric with a passion for anatomy, the producers knew his fixation on feet was far more than artistic. Loren was cast as the wild card, the one destined to stir the pot. The contestants were paired for their first icebreaker challenge, a blindfolded trust exercise. Faith found herself partnered with Loren, whose towering frame and sharp cheekbones made him stand out in the group. "Hi, I'm Faith," she chirped, extending her hand. Loren's dark eyes flicked down briefly, not at her hand, but at her feet clad in neon pink sandals. "Nice to meet you," he murmured, shaking her hand with an intensity that made her uneasy. The challenge required one partner to guide the other through a maze of obstacles using only verbal directions. Loren's instructions were precise, but his comments grew increasingly strange. "Careful, don't stub those pretty toes," he said at one point, making Faith chuckle nervously. By the end of the challenge, Faith felt more confused than charmed. Loren's intensity was hard to ignore, but she brushed it off as nerves. As days passed, the contestants settled into their routines. Faith's warm personality made her a favorite among the group, while Loren remained somewhat of an enigma. He spent most of his time sketching in a leather-bound notebook, occasionally sneaking glances at Faith's feet. The first real red flag came during a poolside gathering. Faith had just finished painting her toenails a bright turquoise when Loren approached. "Turquoise suits you," he said, his gaze fixated downward. Thanks," Faith replied, tucking her feet beneath her chair. The interaction might have ended there if Loren hadn't taken it a step further. "May I?" he asked, reaching for her foot. Faith recoiled instinctively. "May you what?" "Appreciate the artistry," Loren said, as though it were the most normal request in the world. The awkwardness was palpable. Faith laughed it off, but the incident left her feeling uneasy. The next morning, Faith found a small box outside her door. Inside was a bottle of lavender-scented foot lotion and a note that read, "For your beautiful soles." Oh. Faith's stomach churned. Was this sweet or sinister? She decided to confront Loren, hoping to clear the air. "Hey, did you leave this?" she asked, holding up the box. Loren's face lit up. "Yes, I thought you'd appreciate it." "Listen," Faith said carefully. "I'm flattered, but this is a little much." Loren's expression darkened. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable," he said, though his tone suggested otherwise. Faith walked away, resolving to keep her distance. The incident that cemented Loren's reputation as creepy toe guy occurred during a group activity. The contestants had gathered for a bonfire on the beach, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. Faith had chosen a seat next to Emily, her closest friend in the house. Loren sat across from them, his gaze rarely straying from Faith's bare feet. As the evening wore on, Faith adjusted her position, stretching her legs out toward the fire. Loren seized the opportunity. "You've got sand on your toes," he said suddenly, leaning forward. Before Faith could react, he reached out and grabbed her foot. "Loren, what the hell?" she exclaimed, pulling her foot back. "I was just helping," he said, his voice calm but his eyes gleaming. The group fell silent. Emily shot Loren a withering glare, while the others exchanged uneasy looks. Faith excused herself, her face burning with embarrassment and anger. The aftermath of the toe grab incident rippled through the villa. Faith confided in Emily, who urged her to report Loren to the producers. "I don't want to cause drama," Faith said, though her voice wavered. "Faith, this isn't drama, it's harassment," Emily argued. Meanwhile, Loren seemed oblivious to the tension he had caused. He continued to leave small gifts for Faith, a pair of silk slippers, a book on reflexology, and even a custom sketch of her feet. Faith's breaking point came during a dinner party when Loren publicly declared, "Faith's feet are a masterpiece of nature." The room erupted in laughter, but Faith felt humiliated. That night, she informed the producers of her decision to leave the show. Faith's departure was announced during the next group meeting. "I came here looking for love," she said tearfully. "But I can't stay in an environment where I don't feel respected." The news devastated the other contestants, who rallied around Faith in a show of support. Loren, however, appeared unbothered. "She'll come around," he muttered, earning glares from the group. The producers decided to address the controversy in a reunion special, inviting Faith back to share her side of the story. Loren, seated across from her, offered a bizarre apology. "I see now that my admiration was misinterpreted," he said. "But art is often misunderstood." Faith, composed yet firm, responded, "This wasn't about art, it was about boundaries." The audience erupted in applause, cementing Faith as a fan favorite and Loren as the season's villain. Faith returned to California, where she launched a podcast titled Boundaries and Breakthroughs, sharing her experiences and empowering others to stand up for themselves. Loren, meanwhile, continued his work in foot art, though his career never recovered from the scandal.